Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're keeping set 12 rolling strong with an Alcasal deck profile. This is another one of the decks from the Skyride manga. Uh, arguably, arguably, just off playstyle alone, this could be one of my favorite decks from the Skyride manga. Uh, I'm gonna have to test the Stashian a little more with the new stuff to like fully jot that down as an opinion, but this deck is really cool. I have a lot of fun with it. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let's get into another deck profile. We have the Ride Line, which is super adorable. We have Alcazal, little guy. We have the grade 1 Alcazal, which when you ride it on the grade 0, if you show your opponent that you are on, if you show them the ride deck copy, you get to make the idealize Queen's Fort token order, which is it's a pretty cool card. You get to tap it every turn, and you either get to take a card from your drop zone and put it into your soul, or you get to look at top seven and put a card from among them into soul. But if you I think it's like if you went second, you get to. Uh, it's either if you went second or if you went if you just when you're on grade one, you look at top seven and grab two instead of one, which is really cool. We have the grade two, which when you ride it from the grade one, you get to reveal the grade three again, and you get to search your deck for a Queen's Order card and add it to hand. And lastly, we have the big boy himself, Eternal Idea. Silver is gorgeous. I might have to pick up more of these, honestly. But has two abilities, which is first, once placed on Vanguard, you search your deck for a Queen's Order card, and you get to add it to your hand, and then shuffle. If you Persona Road, you get to grab two, which is really nice. And the last effect is when it attacks, you counterblast one, and call two. Uh, you get to call a rear guard from your soul to your field over another rear guard. But if your opponent's at grade three, you get to call two, and then any of the cards that you called over are going to go to the soul again. So basically, if I just to give the quick representation, if I can swing with grade one, attack without causal, call grade two out of soul, and then the grade one will go back to soul. It's a really interesting concept. It is a little locked behind your opponent being at grade three, but it's also not super relevant. Most of the times when I've tried this deck out, I've preferred going first with it because I feel like the deck doesn't do as great going second. Uh, you just want to get to the Persona ride quicker. So that is the ride deck. We're going to go on to the tiny grade 3 portion and then the Queen's Order cards. So we're playing 3 Persona Ride and we're playing one of the Fire Regalis. So Fire Regalis has to be your Regalis piece of choice because every order you want to play one of the Queen's Knights orders, and during your opponent's turn, you will probably be playing the Blitz order. So you kind of need something that just you don't activate from hand, and this is kind of the best choice. Going on to the Queen's orders, we have the Signalized Queen's Order, and we have the Vitalized Queen's Shield. So this one is a normal order, this one is a Blitz order. This lets you counterblast one, put the order into soul, and then call two cards from your soul to the field. And then if you have 10 or more cards in soul, your front row gets 5k. It's a really good effect. There's not a lot to say about it. You're basically filling up your soul with specific units to keep calling them out, and this helps you do that. It sets you up a board for free. This one, uh, after you play it, will go to soul. You may soul charge. You don't have to, but you may soul charge. And then you take a card from your soul and move it to the guard circle, and it gets an extra 5k shield. But if you picked specifically the grade 2 for this deck, you get to give it 10k shield instead, which is really good because the grade 2 that it's talking about is a base 20k shield, so it becomes a 30k shield. It's a really good card. This deck has a lot of like tankiness to it, which is really cool. Uh, onto the grade 2s, which is a little big portion of the deck. We have the Mate grade 2. So this is similar to how Virgilla has Ezwar. This deck has Liwa, but instead of being a 15k 15k, she is a 10k power 20k shield, which is really nice. And there are ways to pump her power up a lot in this deck, so we are perfectly fine with her being more of a defensive card. We have 4 copies of Welkina, I believe is how you pronounce it. So this card's really interesting. So when it's placed, you can soul charge one if you want to. If you didn't choose to soul charge, you get to take a card from drop and put it into your soul. 9 times out of 10, I'm normally doing the drop to soul because it makes a lot more sense. Uh, the other ability is if you have 10 or more soul, she gets plus 5k. And when she attacks, uh, and she was played by your Vanguard's ability, she'll get an extra 5. So she swings by technically 20 by herself. And if you have 15 or more cards in Soul, uh, she will get the crit, and you can choose to put her back to Soul to draw a card, which is really nice. The crit is till end of turn, which is really important if you want to play the red over trigger, but I have not put that in the deck because I wasn't a big fan of it in the deck. This is the awkward part of the deck. So there's this card called it's like Devil Girl Flauros or whatever. She's a promo card. She got bought out, so I didn't get to put it for this deck. So we're instead substituting 2 copies of Servant Falcratia. It kind of does the same thing. The only difference is Falcratia has to attack a grade 3 to put the cards from drop into soul. But she does get power for each of the grades, which is really nice. Whereas the other promo card can be at any grade, just putting cards from your drop back to soul on deck. Which, if I had it, I'd be playing it, but I don't have it, so we're playing that instead. I'm playing one ace unit. I really think the ace unit is kind of nice because if you don't see the grade 2, the Liwan, if you don't see her, you are not like horrible, but you're not doing great that game because she's a very integral part to the strategy of just keeping defense up. And lastly is 1 copy of Selfish Engraver. So Selfish Engraver you have to be a little careful with because if you put Selfish Engraver to Soul, your boss card will not be able to call over her and put her back to Soul. So it'll normally be like what after you attack, you'll be calling out this grade 2 and then this to get the counter charge if you really want it. But that is kind of the point of it being there. I think as a one of, it's not bad to have, especially because again, you run out of counterblast kind of quick in this deck. Not as quick as some other decks, but like you definitely burn through some counterblast. Onto the grade 1s. We have 4 copies of Ophelia, the deck that this was originally intended for, which is, not a lot to say. It's a Shenri clone. It draws you cards. It goes to Soul. You can loop it with the grade 2 order, which is really cool. And then we have 4 copies of this Gargoyle who, I'm not going to lie, until I saw the frame rate, I didn't realize how, insane the art on this card was. I was like, oh, he's like a little goofy guy. He's like, but he's actually he's got some sick art. So he's got a couple abilities. So he's got the ability when he's placed, you can Energy Blast 3 to pick a Queen's Order from your soul, and then add it back to your hand, and then you Soul Charge 1. So this lets you reuse your Queen's Orders, which is really nice because you definitely don't have another way to get them back because they just go to Soul. But the other ability it has is when your Liwan is placed during the battle phase, you get to take this unit, put it as a gauge underneath it, so I guess like that, and then until the end of your opponent's next turn, it gets the ability that it gets 1k for every card in your drop, so it gets really big, which is really cool. It can't be affected by card effects, so your opponent can't retire her, which is really cool. And then if your opponent's at grade 3, instead of 1k, it's 2k. So if you have 15 cards in Soul, instead of getting plus 15k when your opponent's at grade 2, it'll get plus 30k, which is just really nice. And lastly, for perfect guards, I mean, you got to play perfect guards, you know? The Blitz order is kind of. You don't have to run the Blitz order perfect guard if you don't want to for this deck because you do want to resolve the Queen's Order Blitz order. But there are certain decks like Luard is coming back. Um, in set 13, Alpha Rad's going to be there, and they both do get checked by these Blitz Order Perfect Guards, so I think it's worth it to have it for this deck, even though it kind of conflicts. And then moving on to the grade zeros, the triggers, we have Blue OT. I really like Blue OT because I like picking up pieces from the drop and having like just a more tanky game because that's kind of what this deck puts out a lot of pressure as is. So it's like it's kind of good to be able to put get some defense back to your hand. It also gives a crit. I mean, you can't blame me for that. And then we have 7 critical triggers. So 7 might seem like a weird number, but this deck does like fronts a little more. And then the awkward part of this deck is I don't have. If you have 4 of the Soul Front, play 4 of the Soul Front. I forgot to order one, so I'm playing 3 of the Soul Front, 1 of the Shield front, which is perfectly fine. But you definitely want the Soul Front because you can, with the Blitz order, you can choose to during the early game if you don't want to use your Luon, you can just call out this. It'll be a 20k shield, and then it'll go back to Soul, so you're not losing any number of cards in Soul. And of course, 4 heal triggers. I mean, you got to play 4 heals, and then you know if you want effect heals, play effect heals, the usual. But that is it for this deck profile. Again, really cool deck. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I can't wait to have uh, more games with it today when I hang out with my buddies. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace out.